Hello everybody and welcome back to a day where I'm reminded why I love this little content creator gig on PSVR2, and it's because we got a PlayStation blog post yesterday talking about upcoming games, some updates on stuff, and the reveal of Frenzies, of course, which I covered in its own video yesterday, but we're going to be delving a little bit further in because we've been given a lot of information today from the PS blog. So let's jump straight into it. First and foremost, it starts with a recap of last month, as Skydance's Behemoth put us through our paces with the first taste of the combat-heavy, dark fantasy VR adventure that will launch later this year on PSVR2. Now we're turning the spotlight on 3 other immersive experiences, also coming to the platform soon. They also say that Jammy Hero, the channel, has just reached 10,000 subs, and if you'd like to contribute to our next goal of 20k, all help would be appreciated. Anyway, Frenzies, which we talked about yesterday, is a brand new title debuting today, which fuses Synapse creator and Dream's award-winning gunplay with neon-fused multiplayer arenas. It's also interesting that Frenzies was revealed by Sony, showing that they are at least invested into this, which looks very, very cool. And they go on to say, announced earlier this year, Metro Awakening VR is a return to the post-apocalyptic world of Dmitry Glukhovsky's, I butchered that 100%, survival horror series. I'm a very big fan of it. Developer Vertigo Games takes us on a trip to the underground, illuminating us as to how it's adapting the franchise to VR while keeping this new entry authentic to what's come before. Finally, Mighty Eyes gives us an update on Wanderer the Fragments of Fate with an exclusive in-depth look into the time-traveling title. And remember, starting on August 7th, you'll be able to have even more content options for PSVR2 by way of a PSVR adapter. Players will have access to buy and play Steam's expansive library of thousands of VR games, including fan favorites like Half-Life Alyx, Fallout 4 VR, and War Thunder. Now, onto the games as introduced by their creators. There's a lot of, a fun feel to this article as opposed to the very factual stuff that we've got before, and it's good, they're throwing the PSVR adapter back in there, plug in that, but it's awesome to see a bunch of updates on 3 games that, for me at least, are very, very exciting. Anyway, the first one, Frenzies, we talked about it yesterday. It's a neon-soaked shooter with that Synapse gameplay, minus the eye-track levitation, with 5-round matches, and a chaotic lucky dip of randomized round types maps and teams that ensure no 2 matches are ever the same. Fun to play yet challenging to master, we think Frenzies will leave you smiling from ear to ear every time you step into the arena, and we look forward to showing you more soon. Now, that goes further on into Frenzies' own blog post on the PS blog, where they expand on what they mean by the randomized rounds. So essentially, you're thrown into a winner-takes-all match. So even though the rounds are randomized, so you might be playing a team game with a couple of people, in the next round in the same match, you might be thrown into a free-for-all, so your friends will become enemies. Our round types also play a huge role in building this sense of fun. Alongside traditional modes like Team Deathmatch, we got creative to build new round types around some really interesting concepts that make great use of virtual reality. My personal favorite is Glitter Pig, where you're running around trying to grab a hold of this giant squealing pig. You've got to be the one holding the pig for the longest time throughout the round, but that's easier said than done when your opponents can easily track you down and your big porky friend. So essentially, this sounds like Oddball from Halo, but with a pig that runs around on its own compared to Oddball where, it is a stationary object. So that sounds really, really fun. Not something I've seen in VR before, so that's cool. They talk about the gestures being replicated one-to-one in-game, as you can enhance the tactical depth and the social interaction of each match. For example, you can communicate with your teammates using hand signals, taunt opponents with certain expressive gestures, expressive in quotations there, or even engage in a quick game of rock, paper, scissors. We're excited to see these types of interactions play out in Frenzies. They then go on to talk about the cosmetics that we talked about yesterday as well. You have a onesie that you can design and have your own unique visual style and identity with a digital face, gloves, and boots to create a look that will turn heads in the arena right before you land that perfect headshot. We've got so much more to share in the coming months, so be sure to wish this the game now on PlayStation Store. Until then, start picking out your dream onesie and we'll see you in the arena soon. Now that's all very exciting, but I did know about Frenzies, and we all know about Frenzies now. A bit more information there that we didn't know yesterday, but overall, that one has been revealed and it looks fantastic. It looks like a mix between the Finals and Synapse, which is just awesome to see. Now we get some more screenshots of Metro Awakening and a bit of expansion on how they're tackling the game and the franchise. From creative director Martin Derond and game director Samar Liu, I'm sorry if I've messed up your names, from Vertigo Games, they're excited to reveal all new screenshots and an exclusive glimpse into their upcoming survival horror title, Metro Awakening. The game has been created in collaboration with the original series author and is a standalone installment in the franchise, set before the events of the original game Metro 2033 and featuring a very, very personal, emotional story for our protagonist. Metro is renowned for its unique immersive world, and Metro Awakening takes this to a new level. We focused on making VR interactions as immersive and diegetic as possible, utilizing features like adaptive triggers and haptic feedback to enhance the experience while maintaining the series' stealth combat dynamic. They talk about how the story was created by Dimitri, it wasn't their own invention, and they wanted to keep it in line with the rest of the games. But they do confirm that it's going to stick to the playstyle of the mainline games, which is just music to my ears. They have such a unique feel, the Metro games, a little bit similar to Stalker in my opinion in some aspects, and I absolutely love them, so it's nice to see they're taking those considerations into VR. It's good to hear that part of their onboarding process for every team member for the development is to play the games as well, and so they looked at what the strengths are of the franchise and specifically on which of those strengths are translatable to VR. And some things that we noticed is the dynamic that they have between stealth and combat and making sure you're always on your toes and that you're never really sure when people are going to spot you. However, we're also reassured that there's plenty of classic Metro action in the game. But they also inject the knowledge that we aren't Artyom. In Awakening, Artyom is the protagonist of the other Metro games and he becomes a Spartan after the first one, and he is a combat expert, but our protagonist in Awakening isn't, so there's a bit of a slower pace to the combat versus the original Metro series. This is also music to my ears that 4A, who developed the original Metro games, supplied a load of assets that they had from those games to Vertigo. So they could either use them directly or use them as a reference for stuff they built in the game to ensure the look of Metro is kept here. They go on to say you're basically constantly looking for ammo. We have this beautiful environment, we have this beautiful world, our art has made sure that there's detail to explore, but you also need a reason to explore, and the main reason is to find bullets. We figured it would be best to hide those in small packets, so you won't necessarily find full clips all the time. Instead, you'll find single bullets out here, a couple bullets there, just like the flat screen games, and we've also made an effort to make sure that in some cases there's a bit of environmental storytelling around how that ammo got there and something that triggers your imagination, like you'll find a dead Spartan or somebody in the Metro or say a monster with some casings around and you'll find the ammo next to them, stuff like that. Now, here's some stuff that I'm really excited for Metro as they talk about tackling that tactile nature of Metro to PSVR2. The game director says it's an interesting point you bring up about wiping your gas mask clean, because Metro is such a tactile world, it was obviously, for us, something that we definitely wanted to try and incorporate into the game. We tried to come up with an alternative way of wiping clean your gas mask that I think fans will very much appreciate, even though it's a slightly different version and wiping it when you have it on your face, which is interesting. I'm not too sure what they mean by that, maybe that you'll wipe the gas mask while it's off or something like that. I'm really not sure. I'm interested to see how they elaborate on that. They go on to say, we chose to keep a lot of our UI and interactions as diegetic as possible, so in-world, and less like a UI that's glued to your screen is what they mean by that. For example, if you want to see how many bullets you have left in your gun, we could have put a counter on it, but we didn't do that. Instead, we opened up the mag so that you can actually see how many bullets are in there. So if you want to know how many bullets are in your clip, you have to pull it out. It's just a bit more immersive when you go into a combat encounter and you're like, okay, let's prepare, I'll pull out my mag and check, that's going to be enough for this one, and then you snap it back in. Very much like Into the Radius, for example. If you want your gas mask, we put it on the backpack. So when you pull out your backpack by grabbing it on your shoulder, the gas mask is hanging from it. You just grab it from there and put it to your face, and then you stick it on. Those are the types of interactions that we are very keen on, just making them as diegetic as possible. The adaptive triggers are a great example of how you can boost the immersion even further, because they give you an extra tiny bit of feedback as you fire your weapon. And as our weapon designers actually had a lot of fun implementing it and tweaking it for each weapon, it seems like a really small thing, but it is those subtle elements that make you forget you're playing a game when it's just there, right? Another example is the haptic feedback. It gives you that little bit of added experience to make the intense things that happen to you in this game to make them that bit more visceral. So it's nice to see they're incorporating those features from the PSVR 2. They also talk about their focus on immersion and comfort settings. So default locomotion, we're offering two presets. We have comfort and we have immersion. In immersion, the default locomotion setting is continuous stick movement with snap rotation. Of course, we also offer settings you can change in the menu to make it even more immersive, like continuous rotation, similar to Arizona Sunshine. And if you want to have a more comfortable experience, then you can set it to teleportation. That said, we are really not shying away from pushing the boundaries of VR when it comes to creating a visceral experience. So in immersion mode, you can also expect to be moved around or knocked over, to wake up unconscious on the floor, or even be thrown off a rail car, for example. These are things that are very similar to the flat screen games, and I'm interested to see them happen in game. It sounds like they've got Metro down here. My only one burning question is, are we ever going to go to the surface, or is this locked to the Metro itself? I'm assuming, now they haven't mentioned it at all, it's probably going to be locked to the Metro itself, but we'll have to see. That's all for Metro, but we've got one last game to talk about, which is Wanderer: The Fragments of Fate. Unfortunately, the Wanderer bit of the blog is a lot shorter. It doesn't seem to link to another article I can read or anything, but they do say, firstly, a bit of bad news. The game's delayed with a new release date of October 31st. But let's not despair too long. Here's a bucket load of new content to get stuck into. Discover more about some of the people you'll become and the incredible places you'll visit as we present the above exclusive footage, which you're seeing on screen right now, offering an in-depth look into the diverse worlds and stories in Wanderer: The Fragments of Fate. Meet some of our key characters as you step into their shoes and get a glimpse into the story they play in shaping the future, as every decision influences the course of history. Immerse yourself in rich and awe-inspiring worlds as we journey across the globe, visiting Mayan jungles, war-stricken Germany, flooded Boston, and the breathtaking surface of the moon in an unparalleled gaming experience. Once again, Wanderer: The Fragments of Fate releases October 31st, so we have got a bit of a delay there from September to October, which does suck a little bit, but I'm still looking forward to it. I reckon it's going to be a great one. And I mean, it's clear they put a lot of work into this. So that's all our PSVR news for today. It's been a great day yesterday of just learning a load more about the upcoming games. Which one are you most excited for? For me now, they're pretty much all tied, to be honest. Frenzies looks like that finals type of game that I've really been pining for on PSVR2 Wanderer. Looks breathtaking. And Metro is taking one of my most beloved flat screen franchises and putting it to VR. So I couldn't ask for more there, really. But thank you all for watching. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members: Luke Bentley, Phil Irving, Hazit Mirza, Ace Gamer, Hippie Pickle, Jen007, A License to Chill, Sun WTF, Piosco, and Fat Controllers. If you want to join the Patreon, YouTube membership, or Discord, all those links are down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.